In my last vlog, I went to the Sidney Summer Car Show on August the 7th, 2022. For car enthusiasts, it was an amazing collection of cars that were on display on this day. In this vlog, I would like to highlight 3 cars that caught my attention and 3 owners with whom I spoke. So here we go.
Ken Newcombe.
Ken Newcombe.
It's a 1920 DOBLE Detroit or DOBLE Type C.
Right.
This is the most, it looks like someone's wet dream. Like, you know?
You got that right.
Look at
what's your name, sir?
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham, and what's your connection to this Volvo here?
Well, I'm the owner, and several years ago I was at a car show, and a fellow said that he walks his dog by a house just off Dallas Road in Victoria, and there's a car just like ours, or mine, that's parked in the driveway.
Name is?
Ian Hamilton.
Ian Hamilton.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You're recording this, are you?
I didn't ask you, did I? son of a bitch.
Well, that's a nice little camera.
So you've been a Studebaker fan for a long
I
time?
have. I had a 53 lowboy. I had a 55 two-door coupe, which I put Cadillac power in, of course.
Yeah.
And that was my Bonneville car for 2 or 3 years.
I provide chapters for this video, so click along the timeline to get to the chapter that might interest you. Thank you very much. You're viewing Travels with Lobo, now with the completion of my 35-part series, Thailand from the North, from my hometown of Victoria, British Columbia. Remember, a vlog is published every Friday. One of the first cars I happened to come upon at the car show was this, well, what do you call it? Gem of a car? Sort of a traditional touring car. I had no idea what it was, and only found out later that it was a Detroit DOBLE. Detroit DOBLE. Have you ever heard of that? I drew a complete blank on that name, Detroit DOBLE. If you're familiar with my channel, and you're not, I spent a year and a half in Detroit looking after my brother before he passed away. But it did give me an incredible opportunity to explore Detroit and its automotive history. So I spent a lot of time in old car factories that were in disrepair. I went to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, where apparently there is a Detroit DOBLE in the museum, but I had never heard of this car, so not even knowing anything about it, this car is beyond the scope of craftsmanship and just general. Apparently, Jay Leno has 2 of these. The most amazing thing is that the originals were powered with steam. Can you imagine that, powered with steam? You might have heard of the Stanley Steamer. I know I have. So that was another car that was powered by steam, but never, ever had I heard of a Detroit DOBLE. I didn't speak to the owner who was standing there. I didn't even know who he was. So I made an appointment to meet him today in North Saanich, and we talked about this car. What's it called?
It's a 1920 DOBLE Detroit or DOBLE Type C.
Right. And I first saw this car at the Sydney Automobile Show on Beacon Avenue, right?
Yeah,
and
August 7th it was.
You're one of the first cars. I
was right in the entrance there where everybody comes in, so...
I took incredible video of the car in detail, but I didn't talk to you.
Yeah.
So we made arrangements to meet in a parking lot at a co-op in North Saanich for you to be kind enough to say a few more words about this car. And your name is, once again?
Ken Newcombe.
Ken Newcombe. Let's get one thing straight, though. This car is amazing in so many ways, but what struck me is that originally it was powered by...
It was originally powered by a steam engine.
By a steam engine.
Yeah.
Now, that struck me as being really, really, really strange, because when you think of steam engines, you think of locomotives and all that. But then somebody mentioned to me that there was the Stanley Steamer, and we have heard of the Stanley Steamer. So
yeah.
This was not the only steam car manufacturer.
No, Stanley Steamers were like the #1 steam engines at the time.
At the time.
DOBLE was a small upstart that they quickly, pretty much as best I can tell, became #2.
Right.
But then just due to hardships at the time and everything, they went under, came back under a different name kind of thing, and then started to gain popularity right as the end of the steam era was starting to hit.
Yeah.
So their automobile side kind of went down pretty fast, but some of their steam technology did carry on into the locomotive side of things, because they did branch out across the different aspects where steam were applied at the time.
Right. But it's important to note that this beautiful car was originally powered by steam, but is now powered by...
An 82 Toyota 4-cylinder gas.
Wow. So 4 cylinders are enough to drive this thing.
Yeah, it's about 100 horse. More than enough, because you're not doing speed. You're just cruising in it.
Yeah, right. And lastly, if we could talk about your grandfather and his history with this car. Can you just run through that quickly again?
Yeah, my grandfather was a jack of all trades, pretty much. Like, he was always very handy, had his hands in everything, and, into the car culture his whole life. And because he started in oil and gas in the 40s or 50s up in northern Alberta, middle of nowhere, and then he moved to Vancouver, opened a gas station on East Broadway, I think he said, which the station's still there. It's under commercial branding or something now. But just over the time in the 50s and 60s, he was into all the popular cars of the times, Bel Airs and everything. And in the 70s, he found remnants of this car in a guy's field and spent the next 30 years.
Let's just stop there. He found remnants of this car in a guy's field. That's a pretty profound statement. So tell me, from the remnants of the car to this car.
He started sometime in the 70s. I don't remember the exact year offhand, but he spent the next 20-oddish years getting it together, sourcing everything he could. So it's not entirely, he did get some pieces from some similar models of the era and put them together. So I think like the rims were not originally on a DOBLE because they had wood spoke standard things, and these are your nice multi-wire spoke ones. Yeah. But the body frame, the main components are primarily the DOBLE Detroit Type C, and he just put it together, and he got it on the road in the year 2000.
Amazing. And I know you're very much attached to this car now, but I mean, while this was going on, you were a young man. Did you have any interest in what your grandfather was doing at all, or were you even aware of it?
I was aware of it, but like I've always, like since high school, I've been into cars, but just after high school, I ended up moving to Alberta, so I was living away from him.
Oh, okay.
Like I'd come and visit once a year kind of thing, so I knew he would do it, and he did take us out in rides once in a while when we would come out, but because I lived away, it was never...
Did you realize it was something big when he took you for rides?
Right from the start I knew it would be something unique and special, because you just hardly see anything like this. Like when you see cars of the era, it's always your Ford Model T or your first Chevys. I think were still like mid-late 20s. But just of this era, you hardly see anything anymore.
Well, no. So all I can say is congratulations on your interesting history with your grandfather and this car and the history of the car and the fact that you managed to keep it going. Yeah. And I hope you can pass this car on to the next generation or whatever. It's
much to my wife's chagrin, it'll carry on with my son when that time comes.
Well, that's wow. It's I mean, who has this kind of thing? So Ken NEWCOME, thank you very much, and all the best.
You're welcome.
During this interview, we did attract a bit of a crowd, and I leave you with some of the comments.
This thing's worth like $3 million. Yeah, that's like, this is the most. It looks like someone's wet dream. Like, you know.
You got that right.
Look at the ornamentation.
I know.
Is that all
I know.
factory?
No.
Oh, okay. It looks gorgeous.
It was 1924 they came up with their Series D,
Right, right.
which was like the big one that really had numbers put out. Jay Leno has 2 of them. So
Okay, okay.
this one being the C. So yeah.
What did you say?
That's something you don't see every day.
You said that's something you don't see every day. Who is this? Is this? Oh my gosh. People are just crawling all over this car.
Every time.
What the heck is it?
You don't take this out and not get talked about
No.
it.
You do?
Probably.
No, like it looks like everything. It looks like it's been
Looks like
just built.
It's out of the showroom, right?
Yeah. My grandpa finished restoring it in 2000 and it's been on the road since. So
What is it though?
it's a 1920 DOBLE Detroit or DOBLE Type C.
What year?
1920.
Cool.
So manufactured in Detroit.
Yeah.
For sale in Canada, or
Just hit the 100 year.
No, it would have only
how
been
many
for-
were made?
As best I can find, before 1922, like so between 1910 and 1922, maybe 80 at the high estimate. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a journey into fantasy or whatever.
Yeah.
But
A journey.
You could go to the wind shows, man. Like, I would pull that, and I'm like,
I'm
I'm
not
like,
against it,
I'm like,
Doug
that is a Volkswagen. I'm like, that is a kit car. This guy has spent 10 years building it, like, or whatever. Almost, but it's real. It's a real,
Yeah.
real car. Gorgeous, man.
It blew. Thank you. Car number 2 is a Volvo, specifically a Volvo P1800. I've been a Volvo fan for a long time, and in the previous clip, you can see my silver Volvo V70 that I've had since 2004. And it still looks like and performs like a new car. Sidney Car Show. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, and I happen to run into a gentleman who owns this terrific Volvo. What's your name, sir?
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham, and
Right.
what's your connection to this Volvo here? This
Well, I'm the owner, and several years ago, I was at a car show, and a fellow said that he walks his dog by a house just off Dallas Road in Victoria, and there's a car just like ours, or mine, that's parked in the driveway, and it's been there a long time. So we went over and had a look, and the lady that owned the car was there. Turned out the car had been parked in her driveway for 26 years. And so we came back the next day with our two Volvos, 1800s, and to show her we were serious. And
Yeah.
after some discussions, I made an offer and it was accepted. So I took the car, but the car did not look like it does here.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was out front. You can see a poster of some
Thank you.
before and after.
Right, I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw
so
that. Yeah.
anyway, a major restoration. I stripped the car down to bare metal and took it to my body and paint guy up in the Highlands, and we pulled the engine out and had some hardened valves and hardened seats put in so we could burn unleaded gas. And other than that, all little things, a little rechroming of the bumpers. And,
Wow, wow.
so it's been a labor of love, and this is number 2 for me. The first one I restored, it was sold to a guy in Germany. Number 3 was the same color, but it was the station wagon, and I sold that to a guy in Oregon.
Wow.
And
wow.
then number
Yeah.
4 is a 62 P1800, one of the early what are called Jensen cars.
Right.
And that's
right.
in my garage. That'll be finished in a month. And then I have a 63 in storage. So obviously my affection for these cars is pretty...
all Volvos.
all the same model, the 1800. Because,
Yeah.
And once you do one or two, there's not a lot of surprises. I know what to expect, so I kind of
Yeah.
know where the shortcuts are required.
I guess my V70 wouldn't fall into this category here.
Well, you'll see the odd kid that'll get in this and they look under the dash for the plug-in computers, and no computers in this car.
Let's just back up a bit. What year is this car
64.
actually? A 64. So yeah, I remember when I had my eye on this car back in 64. Back in the day. Yeah. So, wow.
I don't know whether you're interested, but these are...
Oh yes. Right.
That's the actual screenshot from Google Maps of what we saw the car parked in the woman's driveway. And
Yeah.
then we went back, and when I bought it, that's what it looked like, with all
Right,
the mold,
Right.
the mold and everything. And then
Yeah.
and the engine, you can see the engine bay full of
What
critters.
what street was that car on?
Oh, Marlboro?
Yeah.
I think so. It's just off Dallas Road, anyway, near
yeah,
Cook Street.
Yeah. Oh, near Cook Street.
Yeah,
I was thinking
and it was
more,
pretty stinky.
more in James Bay.
Yeah. The seats were
Oh
pretty
my
rash,
gosh,
and you can
yeah,
see
yeah.
that's red carpet all faded out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
That is what you call a labor of love.
yeah, engine out, painted hubcaps,
Yeah.
and then that's all body work. And then at the end, tons of body work. And I stripped the car down to bare metal.
Wow.
And then that was in paint up at Leonard's place. And that was after he painted it. And that was when I picked it up.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so
Fabulous.
they're interesting cars. The label there on the inside, the engine base, indicates it's one of the early Jensen cars, which means it was the body panels were made in pressed steel in Scotland.
I see.
And then shipped to West Bromwich for the Jensen factory where the car's assembled. And then after a period of time, the workmanship was so bad that Volvo canceled the contract, pulled them all back to Sweden to be reassembled, and rebadged them the 1800S.
Okay, was this one made in Gothenburg then?
Yes,
or?
it was finished off the bodies were brought up into Sweden and then finished off in Sweden.
Yeah.
And the S for 1800S is Sweden. Some people think it stands for sport.
Yes. So yeah, okay. So that stands for Sweden.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I say, I admired this car for a long time.
And the gauges are pretty unique. They have a kind of a robin's egg blue insert in the middle of them and make them nice and they're fairly simple.
Yeah. How many cylinders is it? 4?
Yeah, 4-cylinder, 1800 cc.
Right.
And the engines and gearboxes are bulletproof. They're well known for their reliability and ruggedness.
Right. So do you drive a Volvo as your personal car?
No, I've got I have this,
Yes.
and I have a Mitsubishi hybrid.
Okay,
Yeah,
is that an SUV or
Yeah, a
what?
small SUV or mid-size SUV.
Yeah. Well, they're very practical, but
Well,
did you not consider buying a Volvo SUV?
No, not the new ones. There's too much plastic and. But eventually, and they're pretty expensive now.
Very expensive.
They're high end, but they're very nice.
Yeah.
And the trouble is that this one is the high end restorations coming out of Europe for these cars are anywhere between 80 and 120,000. So they're very. They're very pricey. If the restorations are done well, they're expensive.
So you're sitting in a neighborhood of $180,000.
120, yeah, the highest possible.
Yes.
And they're not going down in price. That's for sure.
Wow. And you're working on 4 of these, or have
No,
worked?
I've done 3.
3.
I'll be finished the third one. It'll be finished probably in a month, and then the debate will be I either sell this one or the gray one I'm working on, so I haven't got enough room. And then I've got one in storage, a 63, which that's maybe a year from now I'll start with that.
Yeah. I would call that a passion. I mean,
Once you do 1 or 2, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Is your wife on board with all this?
We had a discussion the other day, and she said, at our ages, she's like, what are we saving for? If you think you want to buy a toy or something, buy it. Because we saved all our lives. We've got a little bit of money in the bank, so why not?
And your name again was?
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, no, it was my pleasure too.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
You're the second guy I've seen with one of those.
The second guy.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be the first.
No, there's another one just like that. What is that?
That's a DJI Pocket 2 camera.
Okay.
It's great camera. It's got a gimbal up top that floats.
Okay.
So it's always steady.
How much memory in there?
Oh, whatever you
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not a problem. Just
Who makes that?
a DJI. It's
DJI.
it's a Chinese company.
Okay.
That. Well, I mean that might be a great camera, but that's a great car.
Well, thank you very much.
I mean, I was always a big fan of Studebaker.
Yeah.
Why do you think Studebaker didn't succeed?
I don't know. Well, they succeeded till '66 anyway.
Yeah, but I guess Detroit
Well,
had.
of course, they were never the big thrray, right?
No, and Detroit had 100 manufacturers,
That's right.
and
That's right. And labor disputes too was part of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They had a car, I think, called it was called the Avanti, no?
Yeah.
And that was really forward-looking,
Yeah.
as the name implies.
62. Yeah. Yeah.
But it never made it, right?
Well, they made it. You know, they're still making them, believe it or not.
Where?
Somebody in the States, they make them in a four-door now, believe it or not, and they're on a Chevy chassis.
Yeah.
But they still got the Avanti body.
Oh, okay.
Only now some of them have made it into a four-door, but they got the Avanti front end, right?
Yeah. So you've been a Studebaker fan for a long time.
I had a 53 lowboy. I had a 55 two-door coupe, which I put Cadillac power in, of course.
Yeah.
And that was my Bonneville car for 2 or 3 years. And I've been Studebaker all along.
And your name is?
Ian Hamilton.
Ian Hamilton.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You're recording this, aren't you?
I didn't ask you, did I? son of a bitch.
Well, that's a nice little camera. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, DJI. Just
DJI. I'm gonna write that.
just remember Pocket 2. Do a search
Oh,
online.
DJI. They also make
Drones. Yeah, they're yeah. The Studebaker had a fascinating history. You can do a Google search and find out more, but its last owner was the Packard Motor Company of Detroit. I'll leave a link to the video that I did on my drive-by of the ruins of the Packard Motor Company in Detroit. Thank you for viewing. I hope you learned something in this video. I found it fascinating talking to these people and looking at these cars. But then I'm easily fascinated, and that's why I vlog. Join me next Friday as I switch from cars to boats. Yes, boats. I love boats too.